Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jay Reed, alongside my co hosts, Aaron, Adam, and Eric. We're here to discuss the 2009 show Party Down. Hello, fellows. How you guys doing?
Well,
doing pretty good.
We're doing fantastic. I just want to say that the name is still technically pending. We're not settled on the show. But please, once you come back and look and see if we superimpose the new name into these original old podcasts, because I want to see if we actually take the time to do that.
The name of the show is not yet ready.
Well done.
Yeah, very nice. So before we get started, do we want to talk about what we've been watching recently? I kind of like that segment last time.
Yeah, sure.
I'll start it off. I actually recently rewatched through Parks and Rec, which is one of my all-time favorite sitcoms.
Great show.
And I am reminded of how much I love Ron Swanson. I cannot stand the libertarian mindset, ideology, politics, anything. But Ron Swanson, one of the greatest characters ever created.
Yeah, agreed. Parks and Rec is a good show.
Jay, what about you?
Well, I got a little bit of old business from last week, or maybe it was the week before. I believe I endorsed a show by the name of Gary Unmarried.
And then he watched it.
And then I watched it, and I'd really like to take that endorsement back.
Oh,
it's a funny show. It's the second season actually features a very funny Keegan-Michael Key in a supporting role. But overall, unless you're obsessed with sitcoms like we are, it's not really worth it. But on the other hand, I have been watching Fresh Off the Boat, and I've got to say it's a great show.
It's a solid sitcom.
Solid modern sitcom, absolutely. And then just this morning, I watched the first episode of The Looming Tower, which is a Hulu original about the rivalry between the FBI and the CIA running up to the September 11th attacks. And it was all right. It's got Jeff Bridges in a leading role, and I love Jeff Bridges, so we'll see where it goes from here.
I was going to say that sounds a little weird for a satire or a sitcom, but it sounds like it was a serious TV show.
Oh, yes. Maybe I wasn't clear on that. Not a sitcom not a 9/11 sitcom.
Not a 9/11 sitcom? Okay, good.
I don't think we're there yet. One day, we'll see. We can come up with a clever name for that later.
Wasn't that just the ending of The Office?
Oh, that's terrible. Well, do you remember whenever they were first making 9/11 movies and everyone's like, too soon? This just happened. We can't have a movie yet.
Yeah, because there was an Oliver Stone one that it turned out to be just about firefighters trapped in rubble.
Isn't there also a Nick Cage one?
I thought that was the Oliver Stone one.
Yeah, he's in the Oliver Stone one. Yeah.
Okay, so same movie.
Exactly.
That's the only 9/11 movie I know, for the record. I don't know what you guys are talking about, though. They were coming out with 9/11 movies.
Well, they also made a movie
just that
about... they made a standalone just about the plane that went down in Pennsylvania. I think it was just called United 93.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was that one Robert Pattinson, Nicholas Sparks one.
If you're not too soon, though, you're too late. Because no one wants to think back on 9/11. Oh, yeah, but why 9/11 right now?
Do you need to make a movie?
Do you need to make a TV show?
I feel like the news did enough of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I don't really want to live through a 9/11 sitcom. I lived through 9/11.
There are enough post-apocalyptic and types of tragedies that can be fictional. We don't need to reenact the real ones.
Can we just all agree that The Book of Eli is a 9/11 movie now and just kind of cap it off?
More like The Dark Tower.
The Dark Tower.
I haven't seen either of those movies.
You haven't seen The Book of Eli?
No.
Oh, come on.
What? All right, we'll add that to our movie show.
Which is a separate podcast.
Where we make movies about each movie.
What?
We remake movies using Adam only as all the characters.
We'll just read it scene for scene.
Movie.
Yeah, so Book of Eli is going to be really interesting since it's out of well, I don't want to give it away. Never mind.
I listened to that podcast.
I listened to a podcast about making a movie.
I'd voice act that podcast.
All right, so what about you, Eric? What have you been watching?
Or doing? I've been spending a lot of time on YouTube. watching Try Not to Laugh challenges and hours of dank memes.
Dude, I think some of those leaked into my feed because I've been doing very similar.
Just the attention span is perfect, but then I end up spending as much time as I would just watching full-length features.
So you end up watching 2 hours of 14-second videos?
4 hours of dank memes, Like a Boss videos, and ultimate compilations.
So you've gone the more YouTube route this week.
Yeah, I would say. Well, I've also been into a bunch of like ancient conspiracies and technologies.
So you're watching Ancient Aliens?
Maybe.
Wait. What's an ancient conspiracy?
Okay.
Ancient conspiracy?
Have you heard of the Georgia Guidestones?
Yeah.
What do you know about these things?
Georgia Guidestones are this architecture like structure out in the middle of Georgia. I don't know where, maybe outside Atlanta, and it has inscriptions on it. Basically, it says keep the population at like 500,000 or something like that. You know, have like
12 languages, like 4 ancient.
It's like how to have a perfect imbalanced society with nature, and it's these rules. And if you read them, they're quite stark.
500,000.
Yeah, 500,000 is the number. So that you would have to essentially take out 6.5 billion people in order to follow what's on the Georgia Guidestones. But
wait, so it's written in like English?
It's written in like 10 different languages. Yeah, it's a modern monument. It's not.
Well, it's like 1805. It's like 1805 or like maybe 1899.
But even then, 1899, it's definitely not antiquity. It's
no
modern era.
The most interesting thing about it is that they have a time capsule buried in it, and then it says buried on, and they leave the date out. And it says to be opened on, and they leave the date out. So
do you think that
some people are saying that it's like a some sort of bioweapon that will enact all the laws that are on it?
What if they just forgot to send the Mason the dates, and like he never got it, and they're like, "Hey, we need the headstone or we need the monument stone," and he sends it over to him, and it's just like, "Oh, I forgot to date it."
Well, they have one purpose misspelling, and it's kind of a ironic misspelling. Well, yeah, because the misspelling is the word pseudonym. That's supposed to be a clue for something else, but it ends up being like an acronym for blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so I've been spending my time on the dark corners of engineering and ancient conspiracies and dank memes.
So basically, you're watching the History Channel on YouTube.
And modern brainwashing.
Valid. Adam, what have you been watching?
Not too much. I have watched some Party Down. Watched mainly YouTube. So Slow Mo Guys. I don't know if you guys know that channel.
I've been watching a lot of Slow Mo Guys too.
Yeah, they're starting this new thing where they're doing like a TV show format, and they're producing like episodes, like 5 episodes a week. And just massive amounts of content where you just see things in slow motion and they present it in a fun way.
Have you been keeping up with it?
Yeah, I just went through and watched it. They're only like 6 or 7 minute videos, so it's easy to kind of catch up on.
Dude, the one with the explosive cord was amazing.
Oh yeah, like that moves so fast, just ridiculously slow. There's one where they got some Shaolin monks to throw some nails through glass, which didn't. Well, no spoilers, but just watch it. Interesting videos.
No, please don't spoil the 6-minute YouTube video.
That's right. I won't do it.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, I guess let's progress. This last time we agreed that we were going to watch the first 2 seasons of Party Down. Party Down is a Showtime show from 2009. I believe that's what Jay
it's on
said.
Stars.
Stars. It was on Stars? I thought it was on Showtime, CBS.
Not Stars.
Really? Boggles my mind. Well, all right, it's a Stars show. So, who wants to start us off? Well, first off, did everyone finish the series?
I finished the series. I watched season 1 and 2 to completion. The full climax.
I did not. I watched season 2, episode 3.
You blew in my balls.
But in my defense, I'd watched it before and saw intermittent of Aaron watching it as well. So
to be fair, I believe that Jay mentioned last time something about punishment for not completing the challenge.
Yes, I think that's going to be an important basis to the show. I think it's going to be a combination of hazing and punishment for those who do not finish the show. But I had something I wanted to try out.
Because I'm perfectly fine with making Adam watch the Tim and Eric movie 3 times in a row, and just live tweet the entire thing from start to finish.
I don't have a Twitter account.
We'll create one for you. It won't be hard. It's 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
That's an easy fix.
We'll turn your Facebook feed into a short movie. We'll
make you do it on Facebook. There you go. We'll live stream you watching the Tim and Eric movie.
I don't want to do that.
I'm interested to see how carefully some of you guys have watched the show. So I actually have a quick quiz.
Oh, wow.
I want to give you guys. So we got 5 questions. I'm curious to see.
Are we going to do a buzzer system?
Is this like a BuzzFeed quiz, or is this a Jay Reed quiz?
Let's see.
We're going to find out which characters we are after this.
I was just assuming we would exclude Aaron because I think he said he's watched the show like 3 or 4 times at this point.
What? I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
No. What?
I'm going to write down my answers. Are you going to ask the question? How about this?
Aaron will answer it last.
Hold on. What if this? How about you ask the 5 questions?
Sure.
Everyone write down your answer, and then we can then reveal the answers, and everyone say whether they got it right or wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I can live with that. An honor system about getting the right.
Will work here.
All right. So you guys ready to take this quiz?
Hit me.
All right. So question number 1. What is the name of Lydia's wannabe teen star daughter?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Was this season
2?
Well done, Eric. Well done. Question number 2. What is the name of the Satanist rock star that they catered for and the guy who switched places with Roman at the bar?
You've got me like dunced on both of these so far.
Oof.
Marilyn Manson. Uncopyrighted Marilyn Manson.
Let's just say he's got a crazy laugh.
We'll see. All right, number 3.
I know who played it.
Half credit, Eric. Number 3. What is the name of the rival catering company led by Kristen Bell?
Oh.
Number 4. What's the name of Party Down CEO played by Ken Jeong? And last, what restaurant franchise does Ron dream of opening? All right, so let's go back to the top. Number 1. What was the name of Lydia's wannabe teen star daughter? Any guesses, gentlemen?
Hell no.
I have no idea.
Aaron?
Do we lose Aaron?
Possibly.
Oh, hello. Is it Danielle?
No.
Oh, dang.
Unfortunately, no.
I don't know why I couldn't remember it.
It is Escapade.
Escapade.
Yeah.
What kind of name is Escapade?
Well, I mean, she's like the daughter of a stage mom, you know? Like I think
I now can remember Lydia yelling, "Escapade!
Yeah, exactly.
Well, she doesn't seem like the mom that would name her daughter a poor name like that.
That is Tammy from Parks and Rec, by the way.
Yeah. Karen from Will and Grace. Megan Mullally.
I love her.
She's fantastic.
She is so good.
I was kind of hoping to see something in one of the episodes, but we'll get there.
Wait, hold. What were you hoping to see?
What?
What exactly were you?
There's in the orgy episode. I mean, a lot of tops were coming off. I mean, I was just kind of thinking, hey, is old mama going to show something? But
I can respect that. So
I mean,
What is the name of the Satanist rock star that they catered for?
Jackal Onassis.
Tim Heidecker.
Jackal Onassis. Ding, ding, ding. Well done, Adam.
Thank you.
Number 3, what's the name of the rival catering company led by Kristen Bell?
Valhalla Catering.
Valhalla Catering, correct.
Wow.
Very nice. All right, number 4, what's the name of Party Down CEO played by Ken Jeong?
I want to say it's Mr. Duck.
Alan Duck.
Alan Duck. Very well. Very good, guys. Very good. And last, what restaurant franchise does Ron dream of opening?
Super Crackers.
Super Crackers. One of my favorite lines in the show is the episode with the porn stars, and the guy who keeps trying to get to see Ron's dick keeps calling it Wonder Crackers. It's like, oh, love that.
That actor who played the producer in that episode, he's also in another show called Man Up, where it's him and 2 other guys, and one of the guys is the guy from Balls of Fury, and I can't think of his name right now, but it's basically a terrible sitcom about like being a male in a modern society that plays video games and is terrified of getting the crap beat out of him at the office. So just a side note.
All right. Well, what were you guys' thoughts on the show?
I'll start because I really had a low expectation going in, just thinking it was going to be very predictable from episode to episode. I thought I called it from episode 2, just like, oh, okay, it's going to be the same people in the same situations, just with a different twist every time. But they had a really good play between the team, and a lot of unexpected character development, I think, especially between Casey and Henry. I think it definitely kept my attention a lot.
Yeah, I think you're right that they had an excellent concept for the show, in that it gave them plenty of opportunities to have the main characters behind the scenes talking with each other as they're biding the time. But it also, every single week, we got them in a different setting that allowed to introduce new characters and, zany new situations. So I think they really nailed the concept.
The show was shot in such a way that, I think the freedom of the show was caught in, I don't know, a lot of my favorite parts were very relatable. I feel like they could only have gotten there if they kept it as, I don't know, raw. It didn't seem very prepared or polished. It didn't seem very polished. But the way that it got there, I felt like it was just very relatable.
Relatable is a great word for it. That's exactly the word I was going to use, because I think we've all had those jobs that the job really isn't all that important to us. We're really just biding our time while something else comes along. And here they're all actors waiting for their big break. But for me, I was in school and I was working retail or food service, and you have a lot of time to kill. So you're shooting the shit with your coworkers, and that's some of your best memories, is just being with your coworkers and passing that time.
Working at the Dirty 30 out at Grapevine.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's an experience that is pretty universal.
Yeah.
Well, I like the existential crisis too that Henry had. Like, well, I'm just have a really dumb job. I guess that's what I'm going to have.
I really enjoyed the character progression from Ron. Like, he loses his shit. And then, the shuffle in season 2 is very intriguing, because I don't know how he keeps it together. But
talk to us about that shuffle. What did you like about that? What shuffle are you talking about, Adam?
I said I got up to episode 3. I'm talking about the shuffle where they make Ron the lackey and make Henry the boss. I think Henry does a great job at it too, but no, it's just watching the character progression from Ron go from just, top dog in the catering company.
I think he kind of needed that time in his life, though.
Yeah. It looks like he came back a I don't want to say well off.
Yeah, no. If you continue on in the series, he doesn't do great.
Yeah. Man, they really just shit all over him, don't they?
What I love about it is that he's the only character in the entire show that sees the value in hard work. And so he's the only one who's saying, like, come on, this is a job that we can do and do well and needs to be done. So let's take pride in it. And he keeps trying to be positive and to do it correctly. And he just keeps getting shat on in the most hilarious ways.
Hey, Sir Jerry.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
I have to say that I have seen the show about 4 times, and it's a very funny sitcom. In the episodes that always stand out, number one, the Republican convention, that one, fantastic. Just the situations there. Whenever Ron finds himself stomping on an American flag, that's on fire, and everyone's watching him, and Henry takes the picture.
Yes.
Like I can never forget his voice. No, don't do that. You know, I absolutely loved Ron in this. Everything just seemed to blow up in his face. You know, even right off the bat, I think it's the first episode where he gets the stuff on his pants. So he goes up to the bathroom,
yes,
and he's using the stain begun or whatever and rubbing it on his pants. And you know, the daughter and another waiter come in and they're making out, and he looks like he's just jacking off in the bathroom. You know, like that's just the situation that he found himself in,
mm-hmm.
and it always seemed to be him.
Yeah,
I do think that Henry had a very let it go attitude the first season, and then kind of once he was in the leadership role, he actually stepped into the responsibility and was like, "Hey guys, we can actually do this." So he definitely changed into kind of like Ron, actually wanting to be responsible, but still at the same time not taking it that serious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he also had had to live up to his girlfriend. What was her name? Olga?
Uda.
Yeah.
What a name.
What a name.
She's so hot, though.
I love whenever she would be talking to someone else on the microphone, but like the people would be confused by what she was saying. And she would just look directly at them.
Yeah. She's like, dog shit or human shit?
What? And now I love Kristen Bell. Anything she's in is always fantastic.
So who was your favorite character out of the cast?
Who was that directed at?
The group.
I guess I'll go first. Probably going to have to go with... I'm really cross between Henry and Ron. Then again, the writer was also pretty funny.
Roman?
Yeah. I'm going to go with the writer. He was socially awkward enough that I can relate to that.
Roman.
So, yeah, Roman.
Yeah, but he really got his whenever it clicked. Whenever the actors were like, "Oh, the writer is like God," and he's like, "A god."
Also, I do have to say, Roman's 2 episodes with the Germans or Russians or whatever.
Yes,
that episode is great, and then the episode,
yeah,
and then the episode with the guy from Police Academy, or what's his name?
Guy from Police Academy.
You know what I'm talking about. The guy who has the party, the famous guy.
Oh, Steve Guttenberg?
Steve Guttenberg. I hate Steve Guttenberg. No. That episode where Roman gets the rewrite and McLovin is there.
I loved that episode.
That episode is just one of the best of the series.
I love the meta in that episode. Sorry, go on.
But I had to say Henry. I love Henry. He's probably my favorite character in the series, just because anything he's in, that actor, what's his name?
Adam Scott.
I never can remember his name. Anything Adam Scott is in, I love. He does a fantastic job. He's always great in character, and also I feel like he has this. He does good at like looking at the camera and just kind of like shrugging his shoulders, like, "Oh well," you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was probably my 3rd or 4th time watching the show, and the more I watch it, the more I find myself really hating Roman, the writer. Like he's a very funny character. He's an interesting character, but he's that guy that we've all met. This guy, he's the guy who begrudges everyone else's success.
Yeah,
he's bitter that he isn't successful, and he's mad that anyone else has any sort of success. So he always tries to talk them down, minimize their accomplishments, tell them they're idiots. and he's always trying to demonstrate how smart he is. You know, he keeps mentioning, I went to college, I've done this, and you know, the reality of it is he's working as a caterer.
Well, if everyone is magnificent, then everyone is by statistically average.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that he's like, a couple times there's a girl who's like throwing herself at him, and he's like, well, you're not into hard sci-fi. You know, you like dragons. That's fantasy.
Yeah, he doesn't understand social situations very clearly.
Yeah. So he's, you know, that character that you're just like, man, shut up. Like
when he follows George Takei to the bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah, that was weird. And then afterwards, when George Takei gets the like allergic reaction and he's stuck in the chair next to him, that was weird.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder. Now, Jay, do you know why it didn't have a third season? Did it just get canceled? Did everyone have bigger and better things to do?
Yeah, my understanding is that Adam Scott left to do Parks and Rec, and I think Lizzie Kaplan left to go do Masters of Sex. It's just, yeah, everybody got offers for, you know, bigger, better things, and there was some talk of doing a movie, but it never really happened.
I don't think a movie would be a good format for that.
Yeah, I don't either. But the same thing happened with Jane Lynch. That's why she didn't even finish that first season, because she got the call to go do Glee, and she was just like, "Peace out, guys. I'm going network."
Big money.
Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to begrudge her at all. I mean, look at this series. It's all about waiting for your big break.
That's very true. It's insightful.
But something I wanted to bring up was to sort of view this series through the lens of what's going on now in Hollywood with the Me Too and the Time's Up, the backlash against sexual harassment. I wanted to point out how in this show aired 2009, 2010. It is repeatedly mentioned over and over and over that Kyle, the blonde guy, he gets every part through sleeping with the producers. You know, we mentioned the one where they go to the wedding. The wedding is producers, and he tells the guy, "Oh, I'll do anything," and he says, "Oh, you know, of course you'd come the day of my wedding." You know, it's heavily implied that he is trading sexual favors for parts,
or at least willing to.
Yeah. He also later says that his agent thinks he's gay, and he cultivates that idea within him so that he'll give him presents.
Well, and then also he sleeps with, or attempts to sleep with, the wife of the producer so that he could be young Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And at the theater, he tries to seduce who he thinks is the rich woman to try and donate to the theater. And so it's I think it's very funny that it's this open secret. We always knew the whole concept of like the casting couch. We all knew it, and we just put it out of our minds.
Or we just said that's the cost of doing business in Hollywood.
Yeah, and just how crazy it was to think that that's just something we just accepted until we just sort of collectively decided that it wasn't okay anymore. It seems a little bit arbitrary and capricious.
That's a shout out to our other podcast.
Heyo. But yeah, I wanted to point that out, just how it was right in front of all of our faces, and just nobody did anything about it.
I mean, I've seen the video compilations of like all the references to Harvey Weinstein being an absolute, you know, tool.
Yeah.
So, and people are saying it out in the open. They're just like, hey, you know, good thing we didn't make Harvey mad. You know, like terrible things. Mm-hmm. So apparently the Weinstein Company is going to be filing bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think it's there's always two sides of the coin on it. Obviously, changing Hollywood and changing the methodologies of the industry is one thing, but in the show, back to the show, I think it's just kind of, you know, tongue in cheek. It's just if he was never in a situation where he was like pressuring or being pressured, but
he was shown as willing.
Well, yeah, I think that's just always going to be on an individual basis.
That's a minefield. We probably shouldn't talk too much more about it.
Got a little bit too heavy here, guys. My apologies.
Way to go, Jay. Save it for arbitrary and capricious.
But But Kyle, to me, was one of my favorite characters because he always seemed self-aware of his own charisma, and he was always trying to help. I wouldn't say trying, but he was always trying to help Roman figure out his like groove, and he was just like, man, it's just about being. I don't know. I like that whole premise of just like he used his suave. But
I find it interesting that Adam's favorite character was the quasi-autistic writer.
What?
What are you trying to say there?
What are you trying to say there?
I'm just saying, in general, I think it's funny. But I mean, did anyone else get the vibe that Roman was like either quasi-autistic or just so I don't know, like detached from society that he couldn't even recognize normal conversation?
No, I just thought he was an asshole who got picked on and was bitter about it and never developed.
Oh yeah, well, it came out in the Super Bowl or the football episode where he's like, I don't know whether to pity the irony or to like enjoy the irony or to pity the commitment or something like that to all the finger food at the football thing.
Yeah, but that's also the episode he got schooled pretty hard by the football player.
Yeah,
that was hilarious. I loved that.
Every single one of his stereotypes was wrong.
Like he's trying to put the guy down, and he just throws it back in his face, and he's like, "What about Bradbury? What about this?" And Roman just has to be like, "Yeah, I haven't read that."
Is he gonna say Bradbury's not hard sci-fi?
Right? Oh man, I really liked the episode with I don't know the actor's name, but Andre from The League, where he's Roman's old riding partner, and he's trying to needle him for his success, and he I especially like the scene where they go into the bathroom and the old writing partner is insisting that these girls allow them to do drugs off their tits, and the girls are just like, no, we really don't want to do that. Like it's obvious that they're there just because he has money, but the money only goes so far.
Yeah, he's still Andre.
Yeah, exactly.
What is his name? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
I think, is it Paul Scheer?
Paul Scheer. Yeah, that's Paul Scheer. God, Paul Scheer is so funny. He's so good in Human Giant. Would highly suggest it if you've not watched it. Ridiculous sitcom, or not sitcom, but
sketch comedy.
Sketch comedy show with it's him, Rob Hubel, and Aziz Ansari. And another show ruined by Parks and Rec. Unfortunately, Aziz Ansari couldn't come back because he got a contract.
That's a shame.
It is a shame because it was very funny.
But the actor who played Roman, if you look at his filmography, he's in everything. You know,
he's a Judd Apatow original. He was in Freaks and Geeks with Seth Rogen and all those guys. So,
yeah, I think he's on Silicon Valley now.
Yeah, he's been in the industry for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He was in 40-Year-Old Virgin and all those Judd Apatow movies also.
Yeah, he was in Superbad in kind of the background. Like he didn't have like a role, but like he's in the party scene where they're like, "Sing, Jimmy's brother."
Gosh, it's been a long time since I've seen Superbad.
Excellent film.
So if y'all had a favorite episode, what would y'all say it would be? Or, I mean, let's start with the season. I prefer. I really like season. I think season 1 would have been fine if it had to have been cut off right there. But I really like where they took it with season 2. It just kind of felt like some closure.
I think season 2 is definitely better.
I don't know. I really enjoyed Jane Lynch in the first season. Not to put Megan Mullally down at all, but I don't know. That's a good question.
Favorite episode. Let's try to narrow it down.
I'm gonna go the Black Guy's Funeral with the mistresses, because when the Asian woman shows up at the end, that is laugh out loud. That got me.
Yeah, no, that got me too. Once she showed up, like I'm
gonna go with season 2, episode 2, the preschool auction.
That was a good one.
Because at the end when they're making all the fake noises, and then the auction lady walks up with all the kids in bunny outfits.
Yes.
I was just like, wow.
I think the mafioso for me was one of the best. Like, they're going to kill you. They're going to kill you.
Yes.
That was really well done. I think just in the
wrong fat guy with glasses.
Wrong fat guy with glasses.
At the very end, oh my god.
I think that mine still has to be from season 1 though. The young conservative luncheon or whatever.
With Josh Gad.
Yeah, Josh Gad. That one was so funny. A lot of great banter, and I love the scene where Ron's stomping on the flag. Like,
yes.
That to me was one of the most ridiculous situations that Ron found himself in, and honestly, I think probably the porno episode that
was a good one.
That situation that Ron found himself in was so outrageous.
Yes, but do you think that this show, on some level, is hypocritical in that it definitely holds up a mirror to the stark reality of these people are never going to make it? You know, most likely these people are just going to continue to work these menial jobs until they move on to something else, they give up on their dream, or they die. So do you think there's something inherently hypocritical of kind of skewering those delusional people being made by clearly successful, famous, and beautiful actors?
I did like that. The fact that the job that they were going for was to be actors while it was being done by actors. I thought that was like a good little, I don't know if it was an intentional like fourth wall break or whatever, but it's just like, oh, actors trying to be actors, haha.
Well, Hollywood loves a story about Hollywood. You know, Hollywood loves to do a movie about how great Hollywood is. Did you guys see La La Land?
Weinstein, the movie.
Like, you know, Hollywood is so wonderful. Barf. So
I did not see La La Land.
Yeah, you're better off. Like I'm usually the first person to criticize something for being too LA Hollywood self-referential because I don't live in Hollywood. I've never struggled as an actor. I could give a shit.
It's interesting. Why is Red Hot Chili Peppers your favorite band?
Hey now. That has never been the truth.
That's right. It's Oasis.
Hey.
No.
Well, yeah, I'll give you Oasis.
It's not Eagles. It's, what is it?
Jimmy Eat World.
Hey. This isn't the Jay's Musical Taste podcast. This is the
we're revealing Jay's top 5 bands in 3, 2, 1.
Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, no, this isn't Greg's top 5. For the listeners at home, Greg is a friend of ours who listens to Last Mercy. So, anyways, any additional thoughts on the show? Any final comments? Or do we want to do our rating? I guess
we need to do ratings.
Yeah, we should do our rating.
All right, let me get my notes out.
While Jay is getting the notes out, I do want to ask this question, Eric. We've talked about additional seasons and changes. Is there anything that you would change in the show? Is there anything that you think that another season to kind of explain the story more, or anything like that?
No, I think the show was almost self-serving in the sense of I think it was a layover season for them, a layover project. I think while they were all looking for work inside the show, I think they might have actually been really looking for work. So I think it was like one of the most creative wastes of time in the sense of they created really good situations and had enough chemistry within the characters where they just acted through it. But my favorite parts were kind of all the existential crises that everyone was having. Like the writer that hopped in the jacuzzi and just the girl doing mushrooms and everything else. I think I enjoyed watching all the breakdowns, the amateur acted breakdowns, because I felt like it was just like everyone's inner voice coming out on screen. Because it wasn't scripted, I felt like it was people's actual inner voice coming out on screen. I enjoyed it. So I don't think there's a whole lot to change because I don't think there was a whole lot they were aiming for.
It just was.
I was gonna say it's funny you said that about you thought it was on a layover between shows, because I think there is actually some truth to that, because the main creator behind the show is the guy who did Veronica Mars, and like supposedly the story is that he had been working on the pilot for the show over a period of years based on his experience as one of these people who worked as a caterer in Los Angeles. And so if you remember the first episode, the pilot, they were catering a homeowners association party in someone's house. And that's because when they filmed the pilot, they just filmed it at the creator's house. Like low budget as possible. He had friends and they made it. And it was originally going to be Paul Rudd instead of Adam Scott in the Henry role.
That would have been an interesting choice.
Yeah. But I think once they actually got around to making the show, Paul Rudd was just too old. But if we want to do ratings, I am ready to go around the horn, starting with Eric. Mr. Eric, out of 10, Party Down.
Oh, what did I give the last one?
You gave Plebs a 4.
I gave Plebs a 4. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give it a 7. Wow. 7 out of 10.
7 from Eric. All right, Mr. Adam.
What'd I give the last one? It was like 5.5, right?
You gave Plebs a 5.5.
I give this one 6.5.
All right. 6.5.
So like on Adam, par with
how would you improve it? What are your final thoughts?
Man.
I mean, probably should finish the show first.
Oh,
that's fired. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I mean, like it's pretty set in the way it is. Like they have the characters, they have the formula, and then it's just different scenarios as it goes. Like, what else can you do to that? I didn't like it for reasons that are biased in nature. I mean, I don't think it was a bad show. It's just, it's not my cup of tea.
Are you saying you didn't like it because you don't like sitcoms?
No, I don't mind sitcoms. I'm just more into sci-fi. And,
like hard sci-fi?
So you're hard sci-fi.
Yeah, hard sci-fi. None of that weak sci-fi bullshit.
Okay. Did he like the Orville?
Yeah.
Adam gave the Orville a 6.5.
Oh, so he liked the Orville. You must like this. Okay.
Sure.
Aaron?
So, honestly, this is a solid sitcom. It holds up every time I watch it. It's very funny. It's a little bit more mature than a lot of the sitcoms that we've watched. But I think I would probably give it 7.5. It's got a solid passing grade.
7.5. Okay. I think I hate to oversell it too much, but I'm going to give this a 9.
Oh.
When we picked the show, I was ready to make the bold statement of this is the greatest sitcom ever made. After watching it again, I've come off of that a little bit. I wouldn't say the greatest, but one of the best.
Solid.
All right.
I would say it's one of the best sitcoms if, in fact, it's made in the vein of its own self. That everyone was in a layover looking for work. They're like, hey, fuck it, let's just make this. Let's make something about people looking for work, and we'll just make it up as we go.
Generally, I don't think that the meta of the show is considered in determining whether or not it's a good show.
But I love a meta show.
It's true, but that's a show about meta.
It's a show about a show. I love shows about shows. I love 30 Rock.
I love Larry Sanders Show.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love Larry David.
Well, between the four of us overall, we have given Party Down a 7.5.
So what do we want to agree upon for our next one? Do we want to give a sneak peek of what we're thinking of?
I believe that we've had prior discussions off the record, and my understanding is that Mixology is on the chopping block for the next show that we're going to watch.
Wait, whoa. So are you saying that there is a deep state at work here, which in dark, back smoky rooms has decided on our next show?
I'm just saying that there's a difference between being on the record and off the record.
Okay. Yeah, but I do mixology. That sounds fun.
I will say this. So I think that the only fair way to do any type of punishment system is to all of us agree to the punishment prior to watching.
That's fair.
And that way, if you don't do it by the time we do the podcast, you already know what your punishment will be. So let's see here. Who has a good idea? Anyone?
Well, I can offer a suggestion.
A plethora of Kevin James films in a row.
Oh wow! You got to binge the Paul Blart Mall
You have to
Cop.
binge the Paul Blart Mall Cop movies. That's a pretty good punishment.
Yeah, I like that.
Who's going to hold you to that?
I will.
Yeah, you'll be shamed for not watching these. Like at some points, like in Practical Jokers, you gotta if you're gonna play the game, you gotta play by the rules.
Exactly.
You have every opportunity to not watch these movies by just watching the show.
Well, can I offer an alternative?
Sure.
I've recently made a batch of homemade gin, and I have got a feeling that it's going to be terrible. So whoever fails to finish the series might have to do the podcast under the influence of some homemade gin shots.
Yes.
You know what? I'll agree to that.
I think this is.
Well, no, I don't want to watch the show. And I have the gin either way.
This plan may have backfired.
You have to do the gin, and you got to watch at least Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. You don't have to watch the first one, just the sequel.
There you go.
Yeah, there's got to be some skin in the game.
Exactly.
And you have to report back to us like the episode after on your movie.
Well, I think the punishment should be on air on the podcast. So like somehow like you have to go first.
I've considered like if it's like a homework punishment, forcing the person to live tweet.
You have to do the.
I think you just don't get a say in like what we watch next.
No, you have to do podcasts with your shirt off.
What?
Like,
no video though.
Sitting in the bathroom.
This is an audio medium, Eric.
Oh, well, isn't our icons being recorded back and forth or no?
Are you saying you want Adam to be naked on camera?
That's what it sounds like. You weirdo.
So you have to use like a naked avatar?
I don't know what's happening with the avatars.
Well, none of us are streaming video, so it just pops.
You have to karaoke. You'll have to. All right, that's what we'll do. You'll have to karaoke one of the top 40 songs of that week.
No, screw that.
Live.
All those songs suck.
Podcast. Yes, that's
all
the
those
point.
Songs suck.
That's the point, Adam.
You'll have to do a musically. You'll have to do at least half of a song karaoke style on the next podcast if you don't finish.
Preferably Bieber.
Yes.
As long as it's a song of my
Bieber
choosing.
or Gomez or something.
No, it's definitely going to be the song of our choosing. That's definitely how that works.
Pick out of the top.
It's gonna be a cappella karaoke. So
Out
you're
of the
gonna have
top
to just
10.
sing it straight up.
While you're watching the lyrics on your.
We're not saying that it's gonna be you, Adam. We're just saying generally.
Unless if you don't watch,
yeah.
Well,
I like that
just finish the show.
you have to karaoke on the next podcast.
Yes.
No, I don't.
Let's take a look forward at we're doing mixology next, right?
We'll create a medley of Alanis Morissette songs for you to sing.
I don't know where to watch
Ooh.
mixology.
I think it's on Netflix. Check. Let's see. So mixology is 13 episodes of 21 to 22 minutes each.
Easy sauce.
Easy sauce.
You said one season?
One
season, 13 episodes.
Why didn't it get many seasons?
We'll talk about that after we watch it.
Yeah. Maybe
I
they
mean,
should have
it's got a
net
91%
Matt,
like.
have you heard about this podcast that we're doing? It's about reviewing shows and.
We need to put Satisfaction in the bucket.
Hey, what's it called?
Satisfaction?
No, I mean, what's the podcast called?
It doesn't have a name. Show pending.
The show podcast.
How about the pending podcast?
How do they expect people to?
How about Under the Radar?
Don't listen to this podcast, TV show podcast.
That's because like all the shows we're doing are kind of under the radar, and then the show itself is under the radar.
Hashtag.
Therefore, we're under the radar.
This ridiculous banter is ending now. So next time is Mixology. We will. What, do you want to give us 2 weeks to view it?
I could do next week.
Ooh.
Next week.
I lied.
Yeah, I say 2 weeks.
I can do 2 weeks.
All right.
The 18th.
18th.
The 18th, we'll get together and do the next episode on Mixology. And if you get to the day of the podcast and you start saying, "Hey, I'm not done," then we're not going to move the podcast.
You just have to.
You just have to endure. Yeah, you just have to endure the punishment, which is some form of karaoke on air. So, let that be a warning, and we maybe we'll do the karaoke and the gin.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, being famous on a podcast. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, let's keep talking. Don't let me finish this.
Yep, you dug this hole.
All right, Eric, close it out for us.
Dear Father, thank you for the. Okay, let's.
Wait, hold on, guys. Hold on 1 second. I got bad news. Hold on. It looks like Mixology is no longer available on Netflix.
Ooh. What about Hulu?
Hulu is also a negative.
There are ways to distribute.
Amazon.com you can purchase legally.
Yeah, but I thought one of the rules of this podcast was we were going to have to pick shows that were available.
What?
Yeah, but like Netflix is a terrible medium now. Haven't you heard?
Yeah, fight back. You're not on the Detroit underground dark web yet?
Come on, man.
Detroit underground.
Well, we will discuss the rest of that off the air if there's any changes. But right now it's Mixology, and we'll figure it out.
All right.
But yeah, Eric, close us out.
Thank you guys for listening. For those of you that are, and when this survives the nuclear blast, then we'll all enjoy this in our Mecca in Zion. Matrix.
Are you saying in the future when people have lost all the media except for
this podcast,
they'll get to know what we thought about these TV shows?
They'll be like, oh man, I wish we could watch this TV show that they're talking about.
Man, that Orville show sounded really funny.
And then they'll all come to me for my available underground tour network of videos. Anyway, thank you for listening to this podcast. See you next time on the shows where we talk about shows.
Name pending.
Adios.
Adios.
Adios.